one really experience that I love, often visiting and kind of thinking back on is about two young twins. They're fraternal twins, a boy and a girl named Prince and Princess. They lived in Greensboro, and they had a mother named Titi, and they had all come from Africa. They all came from Liberia, and so they've been pretty assimilated into the culture in America. But they were coming to church with their older sister named Sia, and Sia had been baptized. She was like 11, turning 12, and they had just turned 9, and they hadn't been baptized. And so me and my companion found that out, and so we wanted to know how to best help them be baptized. So we went and tried to go talk with their mom and talk with TT, and said like, hey, your children like go to church every Sunday and they really want to be baptized for themselves. Can we help them? Can they be baptized? The mom said, no, absolutely not. They're not ready. They don't know enough. No, absolutely not. And so we're like, why? Like these young kids, I think, know more about Jesus Christ and the primary songs than I know, at least I did, growing up in the church my whole life. And we want to know how to best help them. So we sought to really prayerfully go into a discussion with TT, the mom, to talk about their two children, Prince and Princess. They really wanted to be baptized. They were 2 9-year-olds and the most adorable kids I've ever seen, with the greatest little personalities too. And I remember sitting in the car and just praying and just really asking Heavenly Father to help, that He loved His children and that we loved His children and that we wanted to help them be baptized. And I remember I felt like I never offered a more sincere prayer because I really loved Prince and Princess. And so we went in and walked in the house and sat down with TT, and we started asking her questions and really seeing where she was at. And it was amazing that she had like a complete change of heart, whereas before she just said, no, absolutely not. Like they won't be baptized for another several years. And to now she was like, like I had been thinking about it. Now you talk and hearing their testimonies, like I think, yeah, sure, it's okay for them to be baptized. And so that was like such a huge breakthrough that we were just like, oh my goodness, like God really does His own work. We try so hard to do our best to kind of, I guess, help do God's work, but realizing that God has greater power than we can to do His own work, and that we're there just to experience Him doing it and to be witnesses of that and to help in whatever way that we can in fulfilling that. So for me, that was just a powerful experience. And then coming out of that, I just remember being in tears and offering one of the most sincere prayers of gratitude that I have ever done. Just thanking Him for such a miraculous experience and being able to see His hand, be able to change someone's heart so that someone else could have the way of being baptized and accepting Jesus Christ in their lives. It was really powerful. I think timing is a huge part of God's plan and purposes, that His timing and also when individuals are ready is when they'll come. We can't force anyone to, receive spiritual things or accept being baptized or coming into the church or being converted forcefully. I remember a family in Greensboro. They was named the Boros family. I remember my first transfer. I was in Greensboro for 7.5 months. I was there for a long time. That was the longest area I was ever there for. So I remember my first transfer with my companion. We were trying to figure out what we should do with our time before we had an appointment, and we were just like, okay, we'll just kind of find some people to teach on this street. So we knocked a couple doors. We talked to some people out in the streets, and just no luck. And so it came time where we needed to move on to our appointment and said, hey, we'll just knock one more door. So we skipped a couple houses and we went to this one door and we knocked on it, and the man came out and says like, who are you? Like, what are you doing here? And we're like, oh, he's not really interested. We're missionaries from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Here to share a message with you. Would you be interested in that? And he goes, oh, my wife's a member of your church. And we're like, oh, really? Like, are you a member too? And he goes, no, I'm Catholic. Like, I don't think I'll ever join your church. He goes, I don't know how you can have members like spend so much time doing activities like, being callings, I think is what you call it, and giving 10% of their income and spending all this time on Sundays and throughout the week. He goes, that's just, I don't know how a church can even ask that much of individuals. Like, I will never join your church. And we're like, wow, well, like we would love to just be able to help you in any way. Is there any way we can maybe get a phone number to maybe contact Letha in the future? And he goes, yeah, sure, you can contact her. She's not as interested as like, she's as not interested in having you come by as I am. We're like, that's okay. Like, we'd love to maybe leave a message or help in any way we could. And so closed the door, and we tried calling him periodically throughout a week, but for 6 months, like, I would send messages on Facebook. In our mission, we were Facebook missionaries as well as full-time missionaries. And so I sent her messages, found her on Facebook, and said, hey, there's a, an activity that our ward is doing that your girls would probably love. Like, would you be interested in that? She was like, yeah, maybe, or yeah, we'll maybe try and come. And so I kept like inviting her like every couple weeks, or just saying, hey, is there anything you need help with? Just let us know. And she goes, oh, thanks, you're so nice. No, we're fine. Then I remember inviting her to the trunk or treat. This is about 2 years ago, since now it's close to October, and just invited him to come to the trunk or treat. The girls say it's really good, family oriented. There's a good opportunity for the girls to come, and they actually came, and it was amazing to see them and visit with them. And but then we didn't see them again after that. Then in December, November, December time, they went and visited some of Letha's Mormon relatives that live in Texas, and Chris had an amazing experience where he saw an 8-year-old child praying, and it was like, wow, I wish my girls had that. And so he's like, maybe there is something more to this church than just them sacrificing these things. Maybe there's something real to it. So then he really wanted to find out and really wanted to seek after the church. And in December, Letha's like, hey, what time is church? Like, all of us are going to come. We'd love to come to church. And Chris would love to meet with you, and all of us would like to take the lessons. And we were like, what? Like, where did this happen? How did this happen? And so from then, we began teaching them, all of them. The girls are Penelope and Regan. They were 11 and 8 at the time. And Chris was not a member, and Letha was less active. And so we were teaching all of them, and all of them were baptized February 1st. And so it was amazing to see how, like, I found them with my companion on my first transfer, didn't really hear from them for 6 months, and then the transfer that I left was the transfer that the family, Chris and Reagan and Penelope and Letha, all came and back to church and joined the church. And I went to their sealing a year later, which is amazing. But that was really powerful, of just thinking like, wow, like, people accepting the gospel comes in their own time, and God is constantly working on this people. And that we need to have faith that if their time isn't now, that it will be in the near future.